Hi guys, welcome to my beach. This is Silva with Connecticut, and I'm here to introduce a special guest for you who is graciously giving her time of the day around lunch break so she can share with us our experience moving virtually from out of state to Connecticut. Elisa was introduced to me and referred to me by a very special friend of mine and a former colleague, and no pressure there. It was just an experience that I would expect to go perfect, of course. And would it be actually fair to say that whatever we could possibly have going wrong pretty much almost went wrong? So without further ado, I'm going to give it up to Elisa to share her experience moving to Connecticut, which was during COVID time, and here it is. Thank you, Elisa, for coming today, sharing your experience with us. So let me know a little bit about how you feel about moving to Connecticut and what happened during COVID.
So first off, I swore I was never leaving DC again, and I expected that to last at least a decade like it normally does. But 3 years after I got back from the last move, a job offer that I couldn't refuse kind of came up. So, middle of the pandemic is not the easiest time to start looking for a house. Like, this was the middle of the worst of the lockdown. A friend of mine put me in touch with Silva, and we started looking virtually. I had sort of narrowed down a neighborhood just based on where I was going to be working and what kinds of things I'm usually looking for, which is easy access to restaurants and things to do and easy access to public transportation. So I had sort of narrowed into a neighborhood. We did some looking virtually. It turns out that in the middle of the pandemic, there's not that many houses on the market to begin with. So found about 2 or 3 options, only one of which was sort of in the neighborhood I wanted, and I knew it was going to be a fixer-upper. So came up on Good Friday, found out that when you are literally the only car driving through the toll gates of the New Jersey Turnpike, you can make amazing time coming up to Connecticut, like not even having to stop to go over the GW Bridge. So in one day, drove up, we looked at a couple of properties, ended up sort of settling on the one I had sort of picked out by location, which was still going to be a fixer-upper, and made it home. So that was about 12 hours total, including driving around town a little bit just to sort of get a feel for it. So, went through the process. That went relatively smoothly, other than that when the inspector came through, my little bit of fixing upping became a whole lot of fixing and upping. Got to closing, what was supposed to be closing, and the seller's lawyer couldn't get his paperwork together, so that dragged on for about 2 weeks. Finally was able to start work on the house. And, so we knew we were having to update the electricity, which basically meant taking down the old plaster walls and putting up sheetrock. The first thing that was more than I had intended on doing. There also came the water damage in the basement was worse than expected. So, the dealing with that later also became, let's gut the basement now while we're doing other work anyways. It's kind of a good thing we did, because it turns out the water damage did not come through the flooded garage like we had sort of been led to believe. It kind of came from the crack in the foundation, which luckily was easy to fix. But awesome. There was another week's delay. So that got fixed, kept going forward. Some of this was also mission creep. My contractor, once we were gutting the basement, was like, so we can put a half bath down here. How does that sound? And you guys, when you have a choice between a 1-bath house and a 1.5 bath house, that half bath makes a huge difference.
Wow, I cannot wait to see it.
So neither can I. So now we're adding in, some extra work to get the half bath down there. And also while the walls are down, if I'm going to update the HVAC anytime in the future, the cost to do that with the walls down, to get the ductwork updated with the walls down, is literally half of what it would be if the walls were up. So absolutely, sure. Let's update the HVAC. But oh wait, the HVAC contractor who did a really great job, but on another job while he was working on this, cut his hand and was out of work for a week. So there's another week of slowdown.
Wow.
Then, and this was where the downfall of the mission creep comes in. When we go to deal with the inspections, the city's like, oh, you made significant changes. You need to update new drawings. So there's a little bit more expense and another 2-week delay.
Wow.
And then we need the city to process the drawing. So that was another 2.5-week delay.
Oh my God.
And now we're waiting for then everything's done. We're just waiting for or not everything's done, but like all the mechanical work is done, and we're just waiting for the inspectors. So after a week or so of waiting, somewhere I've lost track of when we've called for what at this point. We finally this week got the plumbing, electrical, and HVAC inspectors through. Tomorrow the framing inspector comes through, and then we can insulate. But once we insulate, then there's another inspector who has to come through. And then about a month and a half, what are we in, mid-October?
Yes.
About a month and a half after I was supposed to be able to move in, we might be able to get walls.
Wow. And as a matter of fact, just to give a little bit of information to the listeners and followers, Elisa was supposed to move in August 15.
I mean, that was going to be a stretch, and we knew everything wasn't going to be done. So,
yeah.
But I was definitely supposed to be in by the end of August.
Yeah, and a closing that would normally take about 2 months took us about 4 months.
Well, I mean, we never intended to do it as quickly as possible because I wasn't moving.
Right.
But
right.
It was the 2-week delay after the closing date that we had set that was sort of the first setback.
Yes. And then I really appreciate you sharing all this information with us, because this is super important in today's market and in any market for people who are looking to deal with fixer-uppers to just know what experience to expect. And I really appreciate you sharing this with us.
This is my third fixer-upper.
Yeah.
So, there are some things knowing what you're looking at going in. Because some things look really bad but are actually really easy to fix.
Yes.
Some things don't look bad at all, like that basement, and turn out to be a lot more work. So that's something to know. Like just because it looks horrible doesn't mean it's going to be that bad to take care of.
Right.
But also, I was expecting delays. I was expecting mission creep. But this sort of got a little bit out of hand.
A little bit out of hand, yes. Now, if I may ask you to share your experience with mortgage brokers, next time if you're moving out of state, would you use mortgage broker from out of the state that you're moving to, or you would prefer to use someone local?
This depends. I kept my house in DC. It's rented out, so I chose to go with the same institution that holds the other mortgage, just for ease.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have generally taken the recommendations of the realtors I've been working with, because generally I just don't know.
I see. Thank you. I appreciate this. And then, what was your experience with the attorney?
I was sort of stuck in. I was waiting. You're gonna be able to edit this a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So that's been a black box experience to me. This is the first time the attorney has ever had to do more than the normal stuff where you expect and you just sign off on.
Yes.
From where I was, it was hard to know what was going on, just because all I knew was we kept hearing about delays and paperwork.
Yeah.
That was missing.
Yeah.
It took a while into the 2-week delay to sort of get a feel for exactly what was happening on the seller's side. So, I wasn't sure. I mean, in the previous transactions, the previous times I've done this, I got 3 emails from the lawyer, met them on closing day, signed something, and sent them a check.
Yeah.
This was the first time I've had to actually. The lawyer had to do anything outside of the normal scope of work. Yeah. So I don't know what to expect. I don't know how to say exactly how the experience was. My recollection of that whole 2-week period was just utter frustration, but that was not necessarily the lawyer's fault.
But overall, the communication was going well,
Yeah.
and you were getting responses
Yeah.
pretty fairly on time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just didn't always know what questions to ask.
I see. So, what was your experience with your real estate agent?
Wow, putting me on the spot. Wow. Well, I just gave you a referral to a coworker, so I thought that says something.
Yes, I really appreciate it. I'm so happy. This means the world to me. Obviously, I did something good to deserve it. So, well, I really wanted to see how did the buyer's consultation online through Zoom worked for you?
It worked pretty well. I mean, again, before we even talked, I had done a lot of research into, I knew what kind of house I was looking for. I knew my price range. I knew the general neighborhood I was looking for. So I think it was good for communication of me trying to explain a lot of those things to you.
Yeah.
I think I did a lot more of explaining that to you than you did of showing me things.
You did. I appreciate it. It is really easy and really easy to work for a client who knows exactly what they're looking for.
And again, like I said, this is my 3rd time doing this, so I have some experience of knowing sort of what, I'm looking for, both as a place that I want to live and as a place that, should I end up moving back to DC, can possibly become a future rental property.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate all the time and effort that you took to answer all my questions. I believe it will be very helpful for the clients, for my future clients, for anybody who would like to know more about real estate. And let's go and have lunch. I hope you enjoyed this interview. I hope it gave you lots of ideas what questions to ask, how to find the best agent for your needs, how to refer people to other people. I'm here to help. I'm here to help, and I have been doing this for over 15 years as a real estate agent in Connecticut, and particularly in the southern Fairfield County. So this was your girl Silva with Connecticut, and I hope to hear from you. Give me some hearts, give me some comments, some likes, subscribe for my channel, and I look forward to see you in my next video with a surprise interview for you. Much love. Have a great day now. Bye-bye.
He said, I'm